Well, from Nordic walking in England to bungee jumping in Aotearoa, our next guests are on an epic adventure.
Que tal se você chamasse a sua família?
50 viikon aikana 50.
Since October, health and fitness personalities Paul and Jackie Brown, along with their 9-year-old son Ben, have been traveling around the world promoting sports and healthy lifestyles.
Well, first of all, what is behind this whole challenge? What are you doing it for?
Well, Carl, it's pretty simple. Jackie and I have been in the health club industry all of our lives. You know, we love fitness, we love exercise, and we love sports. And over the last 30 or so years, we've seen a massive decline in activity levels in our kids. You've only got to look around and see how much time they spend playing on their computer screens, watching videos and the like. And there's a lack of balance there. Obesity has doubled in the last 10 years. It is going to double again in the next 7. And everywhere we go, we're going to visit schools and talk to kids and basically say, look, just find something, get some type of activity in your lives. We figured if we could prove to the world that we can find 50 different sports to do in 50 weeks, then surely every family out there can find at least one sport that they could do on a regular basis.
Sports in 50 weeks brings us to the Lee Valley Athletic Centre in the north of London. We're here with our mentor, great British captain, Goldie Sayers. She's here to teach us how to throw the javelin, because this is Athletics Week. So now it's time to learn how to throw the javelin with the great Goldie Sayers. Goldie, what can you do for us? Can you teach us how to throw this thing?
Yes, I can try. I will do my best. We're going to do a bit of a warm-up, so we'll do some walking drills, and you can move into more running drills, and then some dynamic mobility, which is what I do every day to warm up for any session, basically. And then we'll move into sideways running and crossovers, which is the kind of technique you need to use in order to throw a javelin and turn side on, and then we'll get into throwing.
First up, it's the indoor training. We've done our extensive warm-up with Goldie. Now it's time to try some javelin throwing. These javelins have rubber stops, allowing us to throw them safely into the net again and again. For quick recovery, quick retrieval, gives you lots of throwing practice.
One more time.
She broke it down so simply, dominant arm back and ready, elbow always leading, never dropping underneath. The javelin sits lightly in your grip, almost like you're guiding it rather than forcing it. The approach run wasn't about going as fast as possible, it was controlled speed, building into that final crossover step. Then comes the key moment-strong front leg, solid block, and everything fires through. Legs, hips, core, and the arm is just the final piece of the chain. When I got even close to doing it right, you could feel the difference instantly. The throw just carried.
So let's talk about your first experience. When did you first pick up the javelin? How did it happen?
So I was a team game player, so I was a ball sports player, so I played a lot of tennis, hockey, netball, table tennis. But I was actually handed a javelin. I could also throw a ball, but at school when I was about just a bit older than Ben, about 11, I was actually handed a javelin to take home over the school Easter holidays to practice with, to compete for my school at the district sports championships. So I was fascinated with how I could get this thing to fly, and actually used to throw over the backs of horses because I lived in Newmarket. There was a field opposite. I outgrew the garden because it was a bit narrow, and threw over these horses because I figured out that I needed to get the javelin higher. And then it suddenly dawned on me that they were like £1 million race horses. So I soon stopped doing that, took my javelin back to school and won, I think, the district schools sports, and then was entered into the county schools competition, and then happened to meet Mike McNeil, my first coach, who he trained with, and improved about 10 metres in 3 weeks, and went on to win the national schools championships age 13, 14, and that was the start of it for me.
What other sports could you have considered apart from javelin? At the time, you said you were doing team sports.
I think, I was quite a good tennis player. I was probably the best sport for me actually was table tennis. I was like a national schools under 11 table tennis champion. And actually people who've gone on to represent GB at the Olympics. I used to play when I was 11. But I didn't really take that any further. I just played everything, and a bit like Ben's doing. I just tried everything. Loved ball games. It was what I was kind of naturally kind of gifted at. I've got obviously a general motor ability, but you have to be able to throw a ball to throw a javelin. But it's not always the best people who throw balls throw javelins the furthest, because you've got to throw through the point. But certainly doing a lot of different sports helped me at the start of my career anyway.
Here's another interesting sport we tried called scuba diving. Who's done that? A few of you have. It's another universe down under the water. It's beautiful. But here's something really interesting. When you're underwater, you're having to breathe through a little mouthpiece that has a tube that goes to a tank full of compressed air. And you have to work your lungs really hard to suck the air from the tank. It doesn't just blow in your mouth, you've got to breathe it in. You need good lungs. You need healthy lungs. Inside your chest, you've got two lungs that are like big bags that expand to suck the air in, and then they provide that air, that oxygen, to your body because it needs it to live. We really need oxygen. Now, one of the countries we're going to visit in a few weeks' time is called Chile. Santiago is a capital city with lots of people, very busy city. Lots of cars, lots of buses, lots of trucks. And unlike here in England, the laws about the pollution aren't as strict. You have lots of cars with bad exhaust systems pumping out smelly fumes, and trucks. You can see these black puffs of smoke coming out the back of these trucks. In England, they would be told to get off the road. But in Chile, they get away with it. They have different laws. Here's the problem. What do you think it's like in the city in the afternoon after a whole day of all these cars and trucks and factories? Do you think the air's really nice and clean? No, you can actually see the smog rising throughout the day. It's like a smoke lifting up as the day goes by. And the city eventually, by the end of the day, gets buried under a cloud of pollution. Now, if a big wind comes in, it blows it away, but then the next day it all builds up again. Would you like to live like that? Can you imagine being a young child every day breathing in air full of fumes, full of pollution? Now, those kids don't have much of a choice. The government tries to make things better, but really, they don't have a choice. They have to breathe that air. Some days, they don't let kids go to school because the air is so polluted, it'd be dangerous for them to go to school. Isn't that terrible? But do you know what is worse than breathing that pollution? Do you know what would be 10 times worse than sitting in that city and breathing in the air? Cigarette smoking. And yet some people voluntarily put a cigarette up to their mouth and suck in all that pollution. They take a stick of tobacco, light it on the end, and breathe it in, and they think that's good. They think it's smart, or it's clever, or it looks cool, or it looks tough. Now, if the kids in Chile had a choice, they would not live in a polluted city. They'd live like you do, in a clean, healthy air city. They don't have that choice. But you have a choice with cigarettes. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I'm just here to remind you, if you wouldn't deliberately want to breathe in that polluted air, why would you buy a packet of cigarettes and deliberately breathe in worse? Because that's what it is. And it damages your lungs, so when you want to go scuba diving, the instructor will say, no, I'm sorry, if you're a regular smoker, you cannot scuba dive, because down there, you need healthy lungs. So I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life. It's your body, your choice. You make those decisions, not me. Don't let anyone else make those decisions for you. It's your body. But just remember, if you damage it, you can't get it back, and you miss out on lots of cool things. So just keep that in mind. In the future, someone might ask you or invite you to try something you know is bad for you. And they might try to tell you that it's cool, or don't worry about it, you'll be right. They're just trying to get you to be as stupid as they are. Don't be. Let them make their choices. You make your choices. Don't let other people force you to make bad decisions just to try to fit in with them. I made that mistake when I was young. When I was a teenager, my friends smoked and they talked me into doing it too. I thought I would fit in and try to be one of the cool kids. And when my father had his first heart attack and the doctor told me that one of the reasons he was dying was he was a smoker, I immediately quit. And I'm very grateful that I did. So I started young and I quit young. I wish my friends had the same decision, because some of them now are no longer with us because they kept smoking. So just a thought for you guys. You've got good healthy lungs now. If you'd like to keep it that way, consider that when you're making your choices, okay?
A matinee every Saturday for a shilling it would buy me. Lash LaRue, Durango to and dear old Mother Riley, where all the kids from down our street would whistle, shout and stamp their feet. Imagination, joy unbounded, just how grand those old names sounded. A little older, a little bolder, a little try with girl. Pursued Grace Kelly back before we had the telly. The teenage hearts beat a little faster.